live from testing.
dub for the football game between the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers and your Mount Horeb difficulties up here in the booth, but we should have them all sorted out as far as we know. So, of the year, excuse me. What? Against a pretty
Coming into last week's game, obviously, got to prepare for basically the projected best opponent in the Badger North Conference. It's one of those games where you look back and you see where you can improve on and see the overall good things you did against a state caliber team in Waunakee. But now coming into this, when you mentioned the Beaver Dam team, the conference play,
yes, as you said, Beaver Dam new to the see how they do here. An overall record of 1-2 thus far in the season. Some words from our sponsors here. This is Wisco Radio. back here in Mount Horeb. Now, okay, as Beaver Dam is a new opponent here in the Badger Conference, but maybe there's some players that some Mount Horeb fans don't really know about. Personally, I think the one to watch could be Dylan Livingston of the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers. What do you think about him?
You know, coming into the season, obviously a guy that this Beaver Dam team relies on. You know, the solid quarterback they have in golf, but you mentioned Livingston, 14 receptions and 255 yards coming into this one, along with a touchdown. Solid player, and his secondary is going to have their hands full with him.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of secondaries, and I'm going to make a little bit of a joke here, so don't cringe. In their secondary, by the name of Adam Bird, he's got 2 interceptions so far in the year, so I think they're going to have to avoid him when going deep.
High school students performing at the game. They will play at the start of halftime.
Beaver Dam, as you mentioned, coming to this one 1-2. Last season in the Wisconsin Little 10 Conference, finished 2-5. That's gave them a 5th place finish, and then 3-6 overall. As far as the offensive side of the ball, they're returning 3 starters from last season, and on the defensive side of the ball, 8 returning starters there. So one of their strengths, obviously, with the leadership coming back on defense, could make it tough for this high-powered Mount Horeb Barneveld offense.
Absolutely. You know, that experience always leads to, less penalties on the other side of the ball. So we're going to get a chance to see tonight is the resilience of Mount Horeb Barneveld's football team. Particularly, in my opinion, the defense, as they did let in 42 points last week against, admittedly, a very good Wanakee offense. But not only the defense, but I think also, you could argue, Mount Horeb Barneveld's star player, Malik Winston, held to only 90 rushing yards last week. We're going to have to see how he bounces back against the Golden Beavers here tonight.
Yeah, Winston, 90 yards, but an off night by his standards. We've seen what he can do, and probably going to be, when it's all said and done, in the run for first team all-conference at the running back position, along with guys like Javian.
Now, something that we saw a lot against Wanakee last week was Mount Horeb Barneveld's read option. And honestly, you could actually argue that Luke Haglin, the star quarterback for Mount Horeb Barneveld, was actually a more effective rusher against Wanakee than Winston was. Now, of course, that could partially be because of Wanakee keying in so hard on Winston. But just to mention some stats here, Luke Haglin on 17 rushes got a total of 75 yards, which is almost 4.5 per rush, which is very effective, especially against a defense as stout as Wanakee's. So I'm very interested in seeing if maybe they go to that read option again against Beaver.
Yeah, you mentioned Wanakee's defense keys, and that's something you're going to expect. And looking back on the film a little bit with some of the guys, it sure appeared that Wanakee was playing the Winston run the entire game.
Absolutely.
Is expected and greatly appreciated.
Join Richie Implement on September 22nd from 11 to 6 and September 23rd from 11 to 2 for their fall open house activities. Located at 100 West Industrial Drive in Barneveld, Implement Fall Open House at 100. Now, as we hear Mount Horeb's theme in the background and some of their introductions, I think we're going to take a bit to read the starting lineups here. Starting with the offense, the offensive line from left to right, we've got Eli Williams, the left tackle, Max Olinger to his right, Zach Junk at center, Cade Zawanka at right guard, and the 6'6" Preston Post at right tackle. In triple receiver sets, you will see Miles Steinhoff, Cal Ross, and number 10, Tyler Krubaugh. and perhaps alongside junior tight end Gunnar Nortman. In quarterback for the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings is Luke Hagelin, and behind him, and I'm sure you'll hear this name a lot throughout the night. Excuse me.
Take a quick listen on the national anthem brought to you by the Mount Horeb Mount Horeb Band, directed by Will Jansen.
Never heard the Mount Horeb Band before, maybe that's a little bit of an insight into why they call them the best band in the land. Now on to the defense. Cade Zawanka and Hunter Petty as defensive ends, Gage Schultz in the middle, linebacker Eli Williams and Brady Gassman on the outside, as well as Tyler Dinu and Scott Hall in the middle. Your cornerbacks tonight are Caden Lee and Miles Steinhoff, and alongside them are the safeties Jack Fry and Travis Classy. And your kicker and punter for tonight is Chris Pertisati. He has a leg, doesn't he?
In the Wanakee game, usually he's almost perfect on touchbacks, but not able to have a single one in the last game. But I think that's something we can expect him. He's been putting the work in the practice this week, and I think he'll be back on track from the way he was the first two games.
Absolutely. I mean, we saw him hit some booms the first couple games, and yeah, as you said, Wanakee didn't seem to have the same power, same loft as he did in the two games prior. Well, Mount Horeb Barneveld will be receiving to begin the game. Beaver Dam kicking, of course. Bit of an odd formation here, in my opinion, from the Beaver Dam Gold Beavers. And we are now underway here in Mount Horeb. The Vikings return yard line.
Yeah, Barbu, you mentioned the kickoff team. Two lines in that one, a little bit different from what we're used to seeing from most of the teams as far as the Badger Conference is concerned, and especially in football in general.
Yeah, maybe they brought that back from their past conference. As the Vikings line up for the first offensive play of this game.
Let's go, 56!
Miles Steinhoff and Travis Classy off to Luke Hagelin's right. Malik Winston off to his left. Takes a snap in the shotgun. Looks deep, has a couple men chasing him, and it is knocked down by number 25 on the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers.
Hagelin pass is complete.
Yeah, Hagelin looking for Winston there on the slant route. Winston lined up to the left of Hagelin and had his hand on the ball and could have been pick six.
Same formation here. And they will hand it off to Winston, who breaks off about a 12-yard run, for the first down.
Winston turning his legs on that one. That's something we've seen from him the last three games. It just looks like he's about to be down and keeps the legs turning, able to get past the first down marker.
Absolutely. Something that we certainly missed against the Wanakee Warriors last week. Vikings line up again. Hagelin takes the snap, hesitates, throws a screen out to Steinhoff down the left side, who gets a block from Krubal. and gets a gain of about 17 on the play, placing.
Yeah, great read there from Hagelin on the bubble screen, and Vikings are quick to the huddle, as we've seen from their offense in years past.
Hagelin rolls out to the right, finds Steinhoff on the screen, who shakes and bakes and brings it to about the 22 for a gain of 7.
Hagelin on the night 2 for 3. We've seen his arm strength shown off in the past 3 games. You know, just a quarterback who's able to, as we mentioned in the pregame, use his legs, and then when he has to, throw it deep.
Hagelin in the shotgun once again. Fakes the handoff to Winston. Looks deep for Kruba, who makes a fantastic one-handed catch. My goodness, that might just rival the catch by Classy.
Beaver position, able to go up and grab that one-handed with his big mitts, and Vikings knocking on the door of scoring here early in this one.
A stoppage in play now. A ref coming over to talk to the Mount Horeb bench. We will try to get word on what is happening as quickly as you can. Just appeared that the ref and one of the coaches from Mount Horeb Barneveld had a bit of a discussion. Not exactly sure what it's about.
Well, this Vikings offense has done a great job driving down the field so far here.
To Winston, up the middle, gains about 4 on the play.
Brought down inside the 3-yard line.
I think, as you mentioned, gained 4 yards on that carry, and if he's able to do it out the game, it should be a good night for the Vikings offense.
At the 2-yard line, where it's 2nd and goal.
Hagelin in the shotgun again. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Runs to his left. Breaks the tackle almost for the touch.
There is a flag. It looked like there might have been a hold, call Mount Horeb for a hold, and indeed it is. So back the Vikings up.
That's a shame. That's a solid run from Hagelin there that put them right on the goal line. Could have punched it in with Winston there, but as you said, that will back them up. Winston lining up, and Classy and Steinhoff in a staggered position to his right. Hagelin runs again, appears to gain about 6 on that play.
Yeah, design quarterback run on that one. Had Steinhoff and Classy set out to his right and just took the snap to his right and looked to scramble up the middle. Vikings will now have a 3rd and goal at about the 8-yard line.
I'm sure not exactly where they want to be in a 3rd and goal situation. Hagelin takes a snap. Winston to his right, hands it off to Winston, and he will bring it in for a touchdown. Malik Winston on the 8-yard run for the touchdown for the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings. Off to a quick start there, huh, Cade?
Yeah, Winston, we mentioned coming in this one, could be the key to this game, and Vikings could have backed him up, but fought through it and able to score on the Malik Winston 8-yard rushing touchdown.
As Chris Pertisati now lines up for the point after. And it is good from Pertisati. Now after that touchdown, we will take a break to send you some words from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We are back here in Mount Horeb for the matchup against Beaver Dam. Got off to a quick start there for the Vikings, 7-0 with about 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, that last drive, the 8-play, 63-yard drive capped off by the Winston touchdown. Great start for the Vikings. We'll see what their defense can do on this first drive for the Beavers.
Purdisati lines up for the kick. The 2-yard line. It will be returned by the Golden Beavers. And they are brought down at about their own 28-yard line.
Yeah, solid kick there from Purdisati, probably about a yard or two from being a touchback, but it's good to see he's picked up from the second week of the season.
As the Vikings await for the Golden Beavers to line up.
In the pistol is the Golden Beavers, receiver on each side.
Kendrick Jimenez takes the snap, puts a little screen out for a gain of about 3.
Jimenez pass is complete to Goodrich. Left out of bounds by Travis.
Beavers line up again here.
Four on the play brings up second and 6.
Jack Fry taking more of a cornerback position here, it seems. Classy, the lone safety at the moment.
Yeah, Golden Beavers going with the pistol trips. We'll see if they use that for a bubble screen here.
Blaze Ferrari comes out wide. And I believe he was the intended receiver, but just over the head of him. Didn't really even get a look at it. It was a bit quick for him, it seemed.
Pass was incomplete. Flag on the play. Roughing the passer, I believe, on MHB. So the Vikings and
should give him a first down.
Yep.
And as you said, uncharacteristic. I mean, they have plenty of experience on this defense here. I mean, what do they got? 6 or 7 seniors, I believe, starting for them.
We'll see if they can make up for it here. Now 1st and 10.
Golden Beavers look to the sideline for the call, and they have it. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. And they hand it off, and there's a big collision there from Tyler Dino, and stopped quick.
Yeah, Dino was able to meet him at the line of scrimmage, and then the rest of the Vikings defense able to finish off the job, bringing up 2nd down and long.
Steinhoff on Wieresma out to his right. Or excuse me, out to the quarterback's left. Pardon me. Jimenez takes a snap. And Scott Hall gets quick after him. And that is that pass is too low for Reed Brandt.
The Vikings showing blitz. Scott Hall coming off the line of scrimmage unblocked, able to get to Jimenez immediately, forcing a tough throw from Jimenez and not able to do anything there. Vikings defense now.
And they will line up for this 3rd and long. Still in that pistol, as you mentioned. Seems that's a very common look for them. 2 receivers to Jimenez's right, 1 to his left. He winds up, and it is deflected by number 50, Cade Zerwanka. Great play there by Zerwanka to penetrate quickly enough and get a hand up to swat that pass down.
Yeah, this Vikings defense returning all of their starters from last year and showed on that play, able to force some pressure on this Baraboo offense, and Baraboo will have to punt it, Beaver Dam will have to punt it away. Same colors.
Right, yeah. And the punt here finds Travis Classy, and he will return it line. After that punt return, we will give you a word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. And we are back now, second. And this time he hands it off to Gassman, who swings out to the left, breaks a few tackles, and gets a gain of about 4 there, it seems.
Yeah, we've seen a pretty equal balance in passing and running with the Vikings. Total of 4 pass plays and now 6 rushing plays after that last one. Hagelin 39 yards total passing already here really early in the first quarter.
Hagelin lines up with Winston directly to his right, fakes the handoff, and looks and finds Gunnar Norman, the tight end, for a gain of about 7, it appeared.
Yeah, something we haven't seen too much of this season is the Vikings offense utilizing their tight end. We saw that in the past years with 2 receptions on the year.
And there, the handoff to Winston, gain of about 1, maybe even half a yard there. Got stopped very quickly there by the Golden Beavers defense. As the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings line up quickly as they always do. Hagelin takes a snap, fakes the handoff to Winston, looks to his left and finds Tyler Krubaugh, who makes another outstretching catch and takes them down all the way to the Golden Beavers 30.
Yeah, I'm impressed by this Vikings pass offense this week. As we mentioned, other than the deep ball, we haven't seen too many.
Just broken up by number 11 for the Golden Beavers, Max Wieresma. You will hear his name on both sides of the ball, actually. Takes some snaps at wide receiver, as you see with some Mount Horeb Barneveld players as well.
Yeah, that was, as you mentioned, a dangerous pass. Norman almost had to play a little bit of a defensive back on that, knocking it away from the Golden Beaver defender.
Hagelin ready for the snap, looking to the sideline for the call. He's got Classy and Steinhoff to his right, Tyler Krubaugh and Gunnar Norman on the line to his left. It's a bubble screen to Steinhoff again. Almost made a man miss. Mateo Ramirez to come over and finish off the tackle.
Yeah, nothing doing there for the Vikings. Threw the screen to Steinhoff, but only 1 blocker and 3 defenders there. Created a 2-on-1 matchup for Steinhoff and no gain on the play.
It's now a 3rd and long here for the Vikings. Looks to pass again, does Hagelin. Goes over the middle, and he's got Classy, who breaks a couple of tackles on his way down to about the 2-yard line of the Golden Beavers. That's a great throw there down the middle by Luke Hagelin, I would say.
Yeah, great protection on the play from the Vikings offensive line. Malik Winston picking up a block, and then Classy going up and getting it in traffic, and the Vikings once again on the verge of scoring.
Takes a snap. Elects to hold it. Breaks 2 tackles there in the backfield, but is quickly smothered and perhaps even loses a yard there. And as we said earlier, we saw the read option quite a bit against one key. I believe that's the first time that we've seen it so far this game. It didn't work to as much of an effect as it did last game. Hagelin takes a snap, this time does hand it off to Winston, who breaks the plane and walks into the end zone. Malik Winston with the rushing touchdown for the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings with 5:50 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, Winston hasn't had too much of a workload as compared to Owen, but when he needs to punch it on the goal line, Winston's just the guy to do that.
Purtisati awaits the snap for his point after attempt. And it's high, and it is good for the Mount Horeb Vikings. Now after that touchdown, we will send you a word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. back here in Mount Horeb as the Vikings will line up for their second kickoff of the game here tonight. Now, before the game, we talked a little bit about maybe seeing some resilience out of Winston after, coming off that first defeat against Wanakee last week, and I would say we've certainly seen it here.
Yeah, Winston 6 carries, 38 yards, and of course the 2 touchdowns that have the Vikings out to a 14-0 lead.
As Pertisati looks at his teammates to make sure they're ready. And he boots it high and long to the 3-yard line, and it will be returned. And he brings it back to about the 28-yard line, but it's time for Mount Horeb Barneveld football. And that Mark Nortman and Associates also knows the importance of buying or selling your property. For the expertise and experience you need, call 608-575-3393. That is 608-575-3393. Or visit them at marknortman.firstweber.com. Let's go Vikings.
No gain, possibly a loss by that Golden Beaver run, bringing up 2nd and long. There is a flag down on the play.
It's a face mask on the Vikings, which will move the Golden Beavers forward. Now 2 straight drives here where we've seen a major penalty on the Vikings. And as we said earlier, you really don't see that often. We saw it on the other side of the ball as far as Wanakee with some of those penalties against Mount Horeb Barneveld last week, but very uncharacteristic of the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings there. As Jimenez in the pistol formation gets ready to take the snap and hands it off to a very speedy Blaze Ferrari. I wonder if that last name's a coincidence or not.
Yeah, it almost was a major loss on the play for Beaver Dam. Scott Hall in the backfield tackle Jimenez just after they handed it off. Could have been a big break for the Vikings defense, but now 2nd and short for the Golden Beavers.
Steinhoff on Wieresma to the quarterback's right. Another receiver out to his right, to the quarterback's left. Another receiver out to his right. And he looks to pass. Goes for Wieresma deep and finds him, and the catch is made at the Vikings 28-yard line.
Holding on, Beaver Dam, however, will negate the long pass and bring them back for a 2nd and long. Steinhoff bit on the pump fake from Jimenez and just lofted it over him. Did Jimenez, and lucky break for the Vikings. Otherwise, the Golden Beavers will be on the MHB side of the field.
For the first time in this game, I believe, and that kind of shows you some of the dominance that the Vikings defense can show against really any opponent. I mean, when you consider how many points the Wanakee Warriors had been scoring, holding them to 42 is actually quite the achievement.
2nd and 16 here, your score 14-0, 4:25 remaining in the first quarter. Vikings on top of the newly acquired Badger North Golden Beavers.
Jimenez hands it off to Reed Brandt, who gets a gain of about 5 and will bring them back to the original line of scrimmage.
That's where that hold can be a crucial penalty for the Beavers. They'd be inside the Vikings 40-yard line instead on around their own 40-yard line, and it is 3rd and long.
And Jimenez has trips out to his right, as well as Ferrari in his backfield. He rolls out to his right, looks to pass, but it is over everybody's head. The intended receiver was Dylan Livingston, but it appeared that a coach caught it on the sideline there.
Yeah, another 3rd down stop for the Vikings.
Now,
2 for 2 as far as the defensive side. And on the offensive side, the Vikings are also 2 for 2 on 3rd down.
And of course, the Golden Beavers will elect to punt. And back for the punt is, I believe, their quarterback, Kendrick Jimenez. Oh, and it is blocked. And picked the Vikings at their own 24-yard line.
Looked to be blocked by the Vikings defensive anchor, Scott Hall, and recovered by Gassman. Great defensive play. That's something we saw quite a bit last year on the special team side. But this year, that's the first punt block we've seen for the Vikings.
And there was such a massive bodies on the block, that I'm not even sure if perhaps Brady Gassman even pushed his man back into the punt, which then caused the block. Hagelin takes a snap and hands it off to number 22, Kai Kelcher, who's normally featured at running back, but instead gets the carry there and gets a gain of about 3.
Yeah, Kai usually saw him step in for Scott Hall at the middle linebacker position to start the season.
And Kai Kelcher gets it again, getting plenty of reps here in his first 2 plays as running back, and gets a gain gets another gain of about 3 yards. Hagelin lines up for the snap. Kelcher to his right in the backfield. Caden Lee, and he passes it to Travis Classy, who makes a man miss with a nasty juke move and brings it down to about the 2-yard line of the Golden Beavers.
Yeah, we've seen the athleticism from Classy early in this one. Went up for that jump ball to put the Vikings inside the 5-yard line, and then capped off by the Winston touchdown there, making an athletic juke move, and once again, Vikings on the 3-yard line of the Golden Beavers.
The handoff to Kelcher, and he was about half a yard short on the touchdown there up the middle. Smothered just quickly enough to keep him from breaking the plane there. And the Vikings, always quick, lines up for another play. Handoff to Kelcher again, who this time makes his way into the end zone. Touchdown Vikings through Kai Kelcher on the ground. It is now a score of 20-0 to the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings.
The Vikings' 3rd rushing touchdown in the game. Total yard comparison in this one, MHB 165, Golden Beavers only 14 total offensive yards. That's going to win you quite a few ball games if you're up in that big in total yards early in the first quarter.
As Pertisati takes the kick, and they seem to be getting higher and higher as the night goes along. Now, after that touchdown, we will send you a word from our lovely sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We are back here in Mount Horeb. The score 21 Vikings 0 to the Golden Beavers with 2:04 here left in the first quarter. As the Vikings get ready to kick once again, as they will do at halftime, as they receive the ball at the beginning of the game.
We'll see if Pertisati can get his first touchback of the game. He's been close twice.
Yes, has gotten them to the 2 and to the 3-yard line respectively. And this one, more of a line drive than the past have been, but still gets to the 3-yard line, will be returned here by Firari, who brings it to about the 27 yet again. It seems that there's a bit of a pattern here on these kickoffs. Now, another word from our sponsors. Join Ritchie Implement on September 22nd from 11 to 6 and September 23rd from 11 to 2 for their fall open house activities. Located at 100 West Industrial Drive in Barneveld, be sure to stop by and check out the newest Polaris, steel, ferrous, simplicity, and Kubota equipment Ritchie's has to offer. Also be sure to stop by for a chance to win fantastic outdoor prizes, including a steel battery-operated trimmer or a steel gas chainsaw. Don't miss the Ritchie Implement Fall Open House at 100 West Industrial Drive in Barneveld.
Last play, handoff to Ferrari up the middle, almost stripped by Viking defender. Did not catch the number, but we'll pick up a gain of 3. As you mentioned, Golden Beavers have been starting on their 28-yard line 3 consecutive drives.
As the Golden Beavers, look to the sideline for the play call. And Jimenez has Marshall Goodrich to his left and Ferrari in the backfield to his right, who he hands off on a swing to the left, and a big hit dished out by Scott Hall. It doesn't seem that he has a shortage of those anytime.
Yeah, Scott Hall, second leading tackler on last year's team, missed the first 2 games of the season due to injury, and then able to come back for the big Waunakee game. Had a good game that night on the defensive side of the ball. He's a guy that more than likely we'll see him getting some awards come come all conference time.
Jimenez now with trips to his left. Ferrari still in his backfield. Who now swings out to the right, and he finds Marshall Goodrich after taking a big hit from Tyler Dino as he threw for a gain of about 13.
Yeah, Dino coming off unblocked again. A little bit of miscommunication we've seen from this Beaver Dam offensive line, and that's not, if you're Kendrick Jimenez, you're gonna have a tough time throwing the ball when you got a Viking defender coming at you unblocked almost every single play. Able to get it off, able to get it away there, then move the chains for the Golden Beavers.
Jimenez takes a snap, hands it off to Ferrari, who bounces out to the left, and is stopped quickly by Scott Hall and a few other Vikings for just about no gain. And that will bring us to the end of the first quarter here in Mount Horeb. 21-0 to the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings. And it is now that we will send you to another word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio.
It was okay because he had 2 started and I wanted my kicker outscored his 2.
We are back here in Mount Horeb. Talking a bit of fantasy news up here with the coach here at Mount Horeb Barneveld, Tyler Anderson. Sadly started Kareem Hunt on his bench. Don't know if anybody at home follows fantasy football, but had 3 touchdowns last night for the Kansas City Chiefs. So pretty low blow there for Tyler. As Jimenez takes a snap with trips to his right, a designed quarterback run, and he will take it for a gain of maybe 1 yard.
The Vikings defense have been all over the run. Only positive yards we've seen in big chunks has been the passing game from the Golden Beavers, but this defensive line and linebacking core has just been all over any run play Beaver Dam tries to run at them.
Now 3rd and 8 for the Golden Beavers. A bit of a personnel change, it seems, as Max Wieresma goes out to Jimenez's left, and still with trips to his right. Ferrari in the backfield, and he looks to pass and almost finds Mac Ruesma. A great play made there by Miles Steinhoff to break up the pass.
Yeah, Steinhoff playing the receiver on that one. Once he saw him reach out for the ball, knocked it away. Great defensive play from the senior.
And once again, the Golden Beavers will punt from their own territory, from their own 44-yard line this time. Jimenez awaits a snap, takes the punt, and it is a bit of a squib that will roll all the way down to the Vikings' 30-yard line.
Looked like maybe someone on the Vikings defensive side got a piece of that one, and Vikings will start, as you mentioned, on their own 29-yard line. Could have been pinned on their own goal line if it would have been a solid punt.
And now it is the Vikings taking over. However, there's a timeout taken by the Golden Beavers. And we will send you into another break here from a word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We're back in Mount Horeb after the first timeout taken of the game by the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers. The team's still in their huddles. Now, Kate, I think something that perhaps at least I was surprised by, I suppose I shouldn't speak for you, but the balance between pass and run here for the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings has really been something that we haven't seen thus far in the season. They've been very run-heavy in the past games, but today, seemingly ditching that run-heavy offense for a much more balanced offense.
He had 10 passing attempts and 13 carries. Pretty balanced attack for this Vikings team. Hagelin having a heck of a night, over 100 yards unofficially according to my stats, 8 for 10, and of course that long bomb to Classy.
Your stats are official in my eyes, kid. Don't worry about it. As Hagelin takes a snap and hands it off to Winston, who's back in the game, and he breaks off a big run to his left for about 16 yards there on the play.
Winston showing off the strength on that one, able to break a few tackles and finish off the run with a stiff arm, moving the chains for the Vikings here at the start of the second quarter.
As Hagelin takes the snap again and hands it off to Winston once again, who jukes to his left and breaks off a huge run. And there was a flag on the play, so we will have to see what that was. But for the moment, it is a touchdown, his third of the night for Malik Winston, and we will have to see. Holding is the call against the Vikings, and that has to be frustrating for Winston. I mean, what, that was about a 55-yard run, excuse me. And that's taken all the way back and then some. That would have been a very nice one to put on the highlight reel, don't you think?
Yeah, Winston showing off the speed there. We saw the last play showing off his strength. Sometimes those end up being opened up by a hold, so possibly if that wouldn't have happened, the play could have been for no gain. Nonetheless, tough break for the Vikings.
Malik Winston comes out, I'm sure winded from that 55-yard run. And Kai Kelscher will now join Hagelin in the backfield. And it's an end around to Caden Lee. Makes a couple moves, but in the end is stifled for about no gain on that play. Now second and maybe 15 for the Vikings. Excuse me, second and 17.
Gain of 1 on the play.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much of Lee as far as the Vikings offense is concerned. We've seen quite a bit on the defensive side of the ball. Made some nice plays. As we'll go back to him, as I just said, that
comes out for the screen, and has a big run after the catch. Stiff arms number 21, Adam Bird, who we talked about in the pregame, and gets a gain of about 30, if I'm correct. It's tough to do math here on this football field. We'll see where they spot him in the 25-yard line.
They'll give him over 35-yard reception from the junior.
The handoff to Kelcher up the middle, but does not gain much there, maybe a yard at the most. It seems that apart from a couple of big plays, the Beaver Dam defense has done a very good job of breaking up those runs through the middle. They've had most of their success on the outsides. As Hagelin takes a snap, fakes the handoff to Kelcher, looks to his left and unloads and finds Krubal, who tiptoes on the sidelines and is down at about the 2.5-yard line of the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers.
Yeah, Hagelin pass intended for Krubal. Norman thought it was for him. Kind of ran his route a little bit in the way of Krubal. Perfectly thrown ball by Hagelin, caught by Krubal. Made a juke move, and the Vikings back in business, able to possibly run it in for the score here.
And Hagelin will keep it on his way into the end zone. A read option there, as we saw so much against Wanakee. And that time, Hagelin to his left for the rushing touchdown, the 4th of the night for the Vikings. Now at a score of 27-0, 28-0, pending the seemingly automatic Chris Pertisati point after attempt.
Vikings total rushing yards in this one, 77 yards. You mentioned those 4 touchdowns. The majority of the yards have actually come from passing. Hagelin with over 160 yards in the passing attack.
And the kick is good by Pertisati. Now up to that point after attempt, we will send you into a word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We are back here in Mount Horeb. Now a flag on the play for, we believe, roughing the kicker, which will move the kickoff from the Mount Horeb Vikings up a few yards. The score 28-0 to the Vikings with 9 minutes 11 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah, the officials deciding whether or not it was roughing or running into the kicker. Nonetheless, they will call it roughing the kicker. Vikings now kicking off from the Golden Beaver 45-yard line. Pertisati has a possibility to put it through the uprights on this kickoff.
I would say, yeah, with the extra run-up that comes with kickoffs, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. I think he could certainly put this through the uprights. And wouldn't that be something? I mean, you almost never see that in high school, it seems. You know, maybe that's like a trick that some NFL kickers play. Or some, you know, some game that they play, but we'll have to see here as Pertisati lines up for his kick.
Vikings dominating this one, 28-0. And it's
a booming kick from Pertisati, and it is good. Sadly, that is no points for the Vikings, but we can still appreciate the kick, can't we, Cade?
Yeah, that's something in the NFL. Coach John Harbaugh of the Ravens was trying to pitch to the commissioner to put that where teams are awarded a point or two for if the kicker makes it through the upright. Sadly, not the case here in any football, high school, college, or NFL, but quite the leg strength there from the sophomore.
John Harbaugh always pulling the strings of the NFL higher ups. As Jimenez waits for the snap. One receiver to his left, one to his right as well. And he keeps the ball for a gain or for a gain of nothing, for no game it appears. Vikings, as we've mentioned a few times here, doing a great job of holding the run game.
Yeah, only 33 total yards for this Beaver Dam offense. Clock ticking under 9 minutes here in the second quarter, and if you're Coach Kleppe, defensive-minded coach, you got to be very happy with the way your defense has performed in this one.
And now the Golden Beavers lining up for the snap. Same formation as the last play. This time looks to pass, but it is over the head of number 15, Dylan Livingston, who we talked a bit about before the game. Hasn't really been able to get too much into this one, it seems. But make no mistake, he can certainly attack at any time. Over 18 yards, a reception, definitely a deep threat here for the Golden Beavers.
Yeah, we'll see if the Vikings can force a 3-and-out here. So far on the night, Beaver Dam 1 for 4 on third down.
And it is third down and long. Jimenez scrambles and will have to take the sack a couple of yards behind the line of scrimmage. And once again, a phenomenal job by the defense of the Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings to get, as you said, another 3-and-out here.
Yeah, Jimenez doing all he could to keep the play alive, but this Vikings defensive line had just overpowered the Golden Beaver offensive line throughout the entire night. And as we mentioned, another third down stop.
As Jimenez punts that one away, a better punt this time than last, but it is nevertheless returned by Classy, who brings it all the way back to the Beaver Dam 36-yard line. Now, as the Vikings take the field, we will give you another word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. Takes a snap and elects to run to his right for a gain of seemingly 4. Some great field position here given to the Mount Horeb Barneveld offense. Given to them by Travis Classy on his punt return there.
Yeah, we've seen him all over the field in all aspects of the game.
Hagelin hands it off to Winston, who runs to his left, but is tackled by his shoestrings, as it appears, for about a 3-yard run.
Yeah, this Vikings receiving corps is very skilled in terms of blocking. They've been able to open up the edge for Winston. We've seen it a few times, especially on that long run, but even in the past weeks, Winston's had some really long carries.
To Winston again, this time to his right, and he will get the first down and a few more yards for a run of 8. And pushed out of at the sideline by Max Wieresma.
Ball spotted at the 44-yard line was 1st and 10 Vikings.
Winston on the night. 9 carries for 62 yards, and of course those 2 touchdowns. Hagelin this time deciding to pass.
And he will pass. And a great juke move made by Gunnar Nortman. Now, if you just saw that juke move, you would probably assume that, he was a smaller guy. Gunnar Nortman is, I believe, 6'3". I want to say he plays basketball, so he's got to be tall. And, I mean, to have that size and to make a man miss like that is something that you rarely see, especially at the tight end position. As Hagelin takes a snap, fakes the handoff to Winston, fires to his left to find Tyler Kruball, and he will break off down the sideline for the first receiving touchdown of the night for the Mount Horeb Vikings. Pardon me. To Tyler Kruball.
Kruball did a great job of making his defender miss on that play. Got the block from Steinhoff and taking that one to the end zone. We'll see if the Perdisati extra point will start the running clock.
At the moment, 34-0 to the Vikings. And Perdisati's kick is good. Now, in the break, we will send it to the break and give you a word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We are back in Mount Horeb. The score, 35 Vikings and Beaver Dam 0. Mount Horeb pitching an almost perfect shutout, it seems. They've had many 3-and-outs on their drives thus far. I should say they forced many 3-and-outs thus far for the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers. As Chris Perdisati lines up from his own 40 this time for the kick.
Some scores from around the conference. Wanakee leading with a Forest 35-6. That game's 8 minutes left until the half. We'll see if we can get some more updates after the kickoff.
Just over 6 minutes left here in this game, in this half, I should say, as Chris Perdisati boots it all the way down to the 2. Once again, consistency perhaps over power. And the return by Ferrari all the way, this time to the 25. Finally broke that streak of deja vu that we've been having with these kickoff returns.
As I mentioned, Wanakee leading the Forest 35-6. Reedsburg up on Sauk Prairie 21-14. That game's in the second quarter. Big 8 play. Madison Memorial leads La Follette 28-14. And Sun Prairie leading Janesville Parker 14-6.
And certainly some teams there that are in the running for some state championship runs. Particularly, as you mentioned earliest, Wanakee. And this time, Jimenez hands it off to Ferrari once again, who has his run quickly stifled for gain of 1.
Badger South conference favorite, Winona Grove leading Edgewood 21-0. There's a team that made a run to state last year after defeating the Warriors. And as I mentioned, a team that's projected to win the Badger South.
As the Golden Beavers line up for this snap.
Under 5:20 now left in the first half.
Jimenez with Ferrari behind him, one receiver to his left and right. The handoff to Ferrari, and he is stopped behind the line by Brady Gassman. A great stop there from Brady Gassman. He seems to penetrate the offensive line almost every play, and got a quick enough read there to get to Ferrari to stop him.
Yeah, we said it time and time again, this Vikings linebacking core and defensive line just overpowering the offensive line of the Golden Beavers.
And now 3rd and 11 for the Golden Beavers. Jimenez, 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. And now looks to pass. It's a screen play. He lobs it up a bit too high there for him to get a run. And I believe it was to Marshall Goodrich.
Flag on the play. Could be looked like when setting up the screen, the Golden Beavers had too many men, an eligible man downfield, and once again, crucial penalty here for the Golden Beavers, back them up.
As the refs place the ball and pick some of their laundry up off the field, the ball will be placed at their own 20-yard line.
After the penalty, the ball is spotted at the
Max Ruesma replaced by Connor Menig,
3rd and 16.
a wide receiver who joins Marshall Goodrich out to the right.
Coming up at halftime, we'll have our halftime report brought to you by Market. And if you're tuning into the Wisco live stream on YouTube.com, you may be able to catch a little bit of a Mount Horeb band halftime performance.
Once again, the run quickly stopped by a combo of Cade Zerwanka and Brady Gaspin once again. As Jimenez will back up and await the punt, will await the snap in order to punt, and Travis Classy back deep to receive it.
Yeah, we'll see if Classy can get another solid return, give the Vikings a chance to punch it in once again before the end of the half.
Bit of a duck. It's muffed originally by Classy, and he is brought down at the Vikings 48. And as the Vikings take the field, we will send it to another ad break. This is Wisco Radio. Welcome back to Mount Horeb. Now 2nd and 9 after the 1-yard run there from Malik Winston. As we mentioned a few times, it seems that they haven't gone to the run too much throughout the game, but when they do, it's effective or it's a touchdown, I would say.
Yeah, averaging 4.3 yards per carry is the Mount Horeb offense as they go back to the run here with Winston. It'll be in there, but Winston on the night, he's averaging himself over 6 yards per carry, so solid performance once again from the junior.
And to be honest, that's not even his best numbers. I mean, six yards a carry for virtually any running back in the state would be phenomenal numbers. As Hagelin looks to pass, scrambles a bit, stiff arms, but is eventually brought down about 6 yards behind his line of scrimmage. And for the first time here tonight, the Vikings will have to punt. The punter as well as the kicker, Chris Pertisati, comes onto the field. As we have 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining on the clock. The score, Mount Horeb Vikings 35, Beaver Dam 0. As Pertisati awaits the snap, he receives it, and the left leg sends it very high, and it will roll, take a Mount Horeb bounce, and it will settle at about the 9-yard line. As the teams switch possession, we will give you another word from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We're back in Mount Horeb. The previous play, a 5-yard run, and this time the play stopped by a flag before the snap. Appears a false start on the Golden Beavers.
Yeah, it just seems anytime the Beavers get a play of 5+ yards, they have that one long pass play, it gets called back for a penalty, and that's just killed them in this game, down 35-0 to your Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings.
Although we have seen that a little bit on both sides of the ball. Malik Winston's 55-yard touchdown run brought back by holding earlier in the second quarter. And we will have to see how that ends up affecting the final score of this game. And that run stopped in the backfield by Mount Horeb Barneveld for a gain, or actually, excuse me, for a loss of 1.
Third and 11.
Now third and pretty long for the Golden Beavers here. They will have to get a big play here if they want to continue to have the ball as the clock weans down almost to double zeros. About 18 seconds left here in this half.
Yeah, we'll see if the Beavers decide to run one more play. 5 seconds here. I think they'll just hand it off and go into half down 35.
That is what they do here. A great showing from both the defense and offense of Mount Horeb Barneveld Vikings. I'm sure for the Golden Beavers, something left to be desired, but we will have to see how they get back into it in the second half. Now, to begin this halftime break, we will go into, we will give you some words from our sponsors. This is Wisco Radio. We are back here in Mount Horeb, and I believe we have some halftime stats brought to you by Market, Mount Horeb's custom apparel shop. Dan, take it away.
By the iconic name Motown.
I'll start Dan Lynn's off here, joining me on the microphone. Dan, first of all, what have you seen from this Mount Horeb Barneveld team compared to last week against Wanakee?
Mount Horeb, a lot more effective, like all around. They're not obviously facing the stifling defense of Wanakee, but they're doing pretty darn good.
Yeah, you mentioned Wanakee's defense last week, holding Malik Winston, that is Mount Horeb Barneveld's junior running back, held him to 90 yards. This game already 65 yards in the first half, along with 2 touchdowns. And then Vikings total rushing yards, 82 yards, so you've had guys like Gassman, Hagelin, and Kai Kelscher carry the ball. Dan, why don't you talk about a little about the passing side of things for the Vikings?
Hagelin, dominant. Once again, really just a dual threat quarterback. Can run the ball, pass the ball.
Yeah, Hagelin, you got Vikings total passing stats?
Hagelin with 193 first half yardage, which is quite a bit more than last week.
Yeah, Hagelin's had a really dominant performance, only 2 incompletions on the night, and of course that pass to Tyler Kruboff for the touchdown. He's been able to keep the chains moving and get the Vikings in good position to just run it in. Vikings rushing 4 total touchdowns, as I mentioned, 2 of them coming from Winston, 1 from Gassman, and 1 from the senior, number 22, Kai Kelscher. As far as total yardage, MHB is just dominating, 273 total yards to the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers, 35 total yards. And on third down, the Beaver Dam Golden Beavers 1 for 7 to MHB's 4 for 5. I think with this, we'll step aside from our market halftime report and recap a little bit more of the first half, and then see what some things we will expect in the second half. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Kay Johnson, Dan Lins, Carter Kuhn. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Wisco Radio. Actually, change of plans for the Market Halftime Report. We got a quick interview from Vikings boys and girls soccer head coach Mark Newman, courtesy of Carter Kuhn. We'll have you take a listen to that right here.
So I'm here with Coach Mark Newman of the Varsity boys soccer team here in Mount Horeb. Coach, you have some players who might memory and
Thank you, Carter Cohn and Coach Newman for that. Kate Johnson now joined alongside Will Harrelson, helped us out with the video to start the first half, and I'll be taking over for color commentary duties. Well, what are some of the things you've picked up from the first half from this Vikings team?
Well, one thing that really stuck out to me, like usual, is Malik Winston's rushing game. And along with Winston today, both Kai Kelscher and Brady Gassman got touches today. Kai Kelscher with his first rushing touchdown of the season, in fact, and also just some great one-handed catches by the Mount Horeb wide receivers too. Just fantastic offensive play and fantastic defensive play that we come to see from the Mount Horeb Vikings.
Yeah, you mentioned Vikings defense holding Beaver Dam to only a total of 34 total offensive yards. As far as their passing game, quarterback Kendrick Jimenez 2 for 7, only a total of 13 passing yards, and this secondary was all over that. As far as running the ball, team only averaging 1.4 yards per carry, and anytime you can hold a team to that on the defensive side of the ball, it's going to be a good game.
Absolutely. And the thing I noticed too is Beaver Dam from the camera doesn't look like a bad team either. So it's good to see Mount Horeb putting up 35 points in one half against what looks to be like the offense knows what their game is, and tonight they just didn't have it because of that stingy Mount Horeb defense.
With 2:35 here remaining at the half, we will step aside from a short word from our sponsors. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Kate Johnson, Will Harrelson. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks, to Wisco Radio here. Almost the start of the second half here. What has been an absolute dominant game here in Mount Horeb. The Vikings just clicking on all cylinders. The offense has been great. Defense has been fantastic. Not allowing a single point for Beaver Dam to score, and their special teams has also been phenomenal. That leg of Chris Pertusati has been fantastic.
Yeah, Pertusati remaining perfect on his extra point attempts, and we've seen a few kickoffs that have gone quite a long ways. The one touchback coming off the 15-yard roughing the kicker penalty, and then able to boot that one through the uprights. That just shows the leg strength of the sophomore.
Absolutely, a former soccer player certainly has the leg to kick a long field goal, but we'll see how it plays out in the second half. And the Mount Horeb offense has been clicking on all cylinders, like I said, and so far they haven't really needed to rely on Pertusati's leg, but it's nice to know that they can, and eventually might have to.
You mentioned the ability of Pertusati to kick it from long distances. We haven't even seen him attempt a field goal yet this season. That's something come playoff time could be a crucial element to this team. We talked about the Vikings defense in this game, a little bit more on the offensive side of the ball. We mentioned Luke Hagelin over 190 yards passing in the game, and then of course that one touchdown to crew ball, but he's thrown a few deep balls where only his guy could get it. We saw that one to Classy that took the Vikings down inside the 5-yard line. And we've seen probably by the half Hagelin's best game of the year.
Absolutely, and it's a great bounce back game for what was a tough loss against Wanakee last week. But we know that Hagelin can perform like this, and we know he can do it on a constant basis. So it's good to see the Vikings up 35-0, and especially having Hagelin, Pertusati, and all that sort on the sideline.
And I think with that, we'll step aside for one more quick break. Vikings team breaking their huddle now, heading to the sideline, and get ready to kick this one off in the second half. Alrighty, let's get the second half started. Pertusati with the ball on the tee, ready to boot this one away from his own 40-yard line. We'll see if he can put this one through the end zone. A high end-over-end kick. This one fielded at the 5-yard line by Livingston. Livingston finds a little hole, able to take this one past the 20-yard line all the way down to the 22-yard line, where Kendrick Jimenez will set up shop.
We also get a chance to see how the Vikings defense comes off of a fresh break at halftime. Looked a little tired there near the end, giving up a little bit of yardage, but I have no doubt that they'll come back and they'll be ready to play football.
Yeah, they've done a great job limiting both the passing and rushing attack of the Golden Beavers. Jimenez in the gun. Two receivers set out to his left. Now in motion is the tight end, number 30, Raybrand. Jimenez will get the snap from the center. Toss it to Ferrari heading left. Nothing doing there. Gain of only 2. 2nd and 8.
just good penetration by the Mount Horeb defense, not allowing any extra yard. Cut them down right away, and a short gain by Beaver Dam.
Yeah, that's basically what we've seen the entire night. Vikings defense not allowing any big plays as far as the rushing game is concerned. Jimenez now coming out in the pistol. Two tight ends to his left. He'll toss it again to Ferrari to the other side. Gassman having none of that.